Hey Faith family, I hope that you are off to a great start to your week. As we hit the midway point here during this midweek update, I just wanted to take a minute and encourage you with something that the Lord revealed to me this morning as I was reading Ezra chapter 8 that might be of encouragement to you, that I also feel like fits in very well with the encouragement that I've been giving you to spend intentional time praying together as a church family. So in Ezra 8, just in verse 21, it says this. Ezra writes, I proclaimed a fast by the Ahava River so that we might humble ourselves before our God and ask him for a safe journey for us, our dependents, and all our possessions. I did this because I was ashamed to ask the king for infantry and cavalry to protect us from enemies during the journey, since we had told him, the hand of our God is gracious to all who seek him, but his fierce anger is against all who abandon him. So we fasted and pleaded with our God about this, and he was receptive to our prayer. You know, essentially, Ezra comes to a test of faith here. This is the second wave of people to leave Babylon and head to Jerusalem to go finish the task of rebuilding the wall of Jerusalem and the temple. And in the midst of all of that, Ezra comes to this place where he realizes, I've told the king that we don't need provisions from him because our God is going to take care of us. And yet, he kind of has a crisis of belief when he realizes, maybe I should have asked for those provisions anyway. He certainly has some second thoughts. But he calls his people to pray and to fast, to devote themselves to the Lord in that way, and they see the Lord provide in a really significant way. I love what's also said later on in this chapter in verse 31. We set out from the Ahava River on the 12th day of the first month to go to Jerusalem. We were strengthened by our God, and he kept us from the grasp of the enemy and from ambush along the way. God did exactly what he said he was going to do. And Ezra saw this faith-building moment in his life because he stood firm upon his belief that God would provide. You know, I wonder if the same is true for you today. We've all come to those places where we have those second guesses, those doubts, those second thoughts, right? Where we know in our hearts, God can do this. I believe that he can deliver me from this situation. He can heal this hurt that I have in my life. He can do this great work, but we have fears and doubts. And what was the solution that Ezra called the people to? Praying and fasting. Church, I've called us on Sunday evenings to gather together here at 6 o'clock to pray together, but also just wherever you are, wherever you may be, just to stop and pray for that very reason. I believe we serve a very powerful God, a very all-knowing God, one that can do all things, who knows all things, and certainly can provide for all of our needs, no matter our circumstances. And I'm definitely encouraged also by Jesus' words in John chapter 16. He's about to go to the cross, and I remember him saying to his disciples in verse 33, he says, look, in this world, you're going to have suffering. You're going to have trouble. But he says, be courageous, because I have overcome the world. Do we believe that today? Do we truly live our lives believing that truth from God's word? I just want to encourage you today, whatever you're facing, whatever your circumstance is, whatever your trouble may be, whatever your suffering may be, he's with you. He is fighting the battle for you. He's already overcome sin and death. There's nothing more to overcome. He is with you. He's overcome the world. So be courageous today. So church, I just want to encourage us with that thought today. Let's continually devote ourselves to praying, to fasting together, to seeking the Lord and believing with all of our hearts that he is our provider. We don't need to turn to the provisions of people. We need to turn to the power of prayer. So as you receive this week's prayer guide and you dig into praying for the needs that are on this list, let's remember that together. Let's remember that for each other as a church family, but certainly in our own individual lives as well. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon. Can't wait to see you.